Welcome. You're here at the American Realty Seniors Division. I'm Hilary Walker, your realtor, author, instructor, seniors real estate specialist. And this message is really for clients that I've been working with over a period of time. And I just wanted to get something out to you so that you knew, hey, we're around and we're helping you with all different kinds of resources that might be available to you, or most important, might be valuable to you. Let me
Mhm.
just quickly talk about the seniors real estate business for those who don't know. So yes, it's real estate, but it's not just your average real estate. My motto is it's more than real estate, it's about people. And so during my work, which is primarily with the older adult community, so people who are buying or selling homes who are over the age of 65 mostly is my clients, although the National Association of Realtors does say over 50. Can you believe it? Older, over 50. But anyway, the designation that I have gives me a lot of information that helps me to work with older adults. And so primarily most of my business, I'm working with people who are 65, 75, 85, and towards 90 has been my oldest client who are still buying a home or selling something, of course. And during that journey, I connect with a lot of people who are from different walks of life, such as the Caregiver Site. And so I met Michelle when we were out networking somewhere, I think. Is that correct?
I think you're right. I think you and I actually belong to a couple of networking groups in common, and
Yeah,
we know common people through the community. So I think we've
right.
connected on a couple of different levels.
Yeah, and then I believe that somebody specifically introduced you to me and vice versa.
It was Lorraine Harrison.
Ah, yes. Okay. Okay. Good old Lorraine Harrison. She does that all the time, connecting people for the right reasons too. It's been a joy
Yeah.
to get to know you and to work with you occasionally and see you
Yeah.
out there doing your thing. Michelle, tell me about your business.
hmm Um, it's, Hillary, I'm just getting ready to celebrate my 1 year anniversary here with the Caregiver Site.
Ah,
And I work specifically with people who are taking care of a loved one, whether that loved one is an aging parent, or could be a spouse who's in ill health, or even an adult child who maybe has a chronic health condition.
mm,
But my job is to support, educate, and act as the cheerleader for that person who's providing care for a loved one.
mm. Wow. So you came up with the idea, but you must, if it's 1 year, what were you doing before then?
Before that, I've had a couple of careers before this. I've been an educator in the public
Okay.
school system, and I've also been a marriage and family therapist and had a private practice. So with the caregiver side and providing care for family caregivers, it's like those things have come together because I'm providing coaching and
Mm,
education and
mm.
that emotional support and support in resources
Yeah.
for people.
Wow.
It's a perfect combination of
Yeah.
things.
And so the idea came before you retired, I'm assuming.
No, actually, I was retired for a couple of years,
Oh, okay.
traveled, did a lot of fun things,
Mm-hmm.
and then said, there's something else here I need to do. There's this population of people who are out there, and I'm ready and able to work with them and provide the support they need.
Mm. And I've come across a number of people, excuse me, a number of people um, who have caregivers or who are themselves caregivers to their
Yes,
spouses.
yes,
And I've seen that a lot. And in this field, what I've seen a lot is the women are often the caregiver to their husbands in their
yes,
older years.
yes.
Talk to us about that a little bit. What are the stressors maybe that they would go through an experience or that you found?
Mm, hmm If you're talking particularly caregiving for spouses, there's a shift in dynamics. There can be a shift in roles. There
Mm,
can be a shift in the power basis of a relationship.
mm,
Maybe not so much for people your age and my age, but for some of the women who are a little bit older, it may have been that they had more traditional relationships where the men were in charge of finances, the men
yes.
were in charge of many things. And with the ill health of a spouse, lots of times the women have to come in and become responsible for those things.
Wow. So I've seen that. I've actually seen that in the works of consulting with clients. I've seen where, and sometimes the women are very small frames people, but they're doing the pushing of the wheelchair
Right,
or
right.
helping partners out of the car and things like that. And I can almost see the stress on the caregiver. But the caregiver, as we know, and especially as women, we don't put ourselves in that primary position to take care of ourselves first.
Correct. Correct. Women tend to be the givers, the caretakers of everyone else, and we most often put ourselves on the back burner.
Right.
And lots of times, one of the stressors for women in that caregiving role is by putting themselves and their own health and their own well-being on the back burner, they're risking caregiver burnout, they're risking additional health concerns, depletion of their emotional and spiritual resources.
Yeah. And that's a struggle, I'm sure. So how does your service help with, let's say I meet a couple where one is a caregiver, and more often than not, they haven't reached out to any services that can support them as the caregiver. The service, what is the service you provide?
Okay. I provide support groups where caregivers get a chance to come and talk with other caregivers. I love doing support groups where people can get that camaraderie and say, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one experiencing this. And they have the chance to share their questions and get feedback from other people in similar circumstances, and also to get connection to other resources and tips and tricks. In addition to working with groups, I also do some one-on-one coaching and consulting for the people who want that more intimate coaching experience.
Oh, that's interesting. So do you have a number of sessions, or how does that work for the person, for the individual?
What I find most effective is to do a series of meetings, whether we agree to meet for 3 sessions, or we agree to meet for 6 sessions, or we agree to meet for 9 sessions. A one-on-one consultation can be helpful, but I'm sure this would make sense to you. It's more of a Band-Aid experience
Yeah.
for just a one-time consultation. So in my experience, it's more helpful to a caregiver that we meet multiple times so that I can provide support over a period of time.
Right. Okay. Well, now that leads me to ask you about things, because you will probably show, or you'll probably demonstrate some of the things that we're going to talk about now directly with your clients when you meet with them. But I'm really curious about a few things that you would always offer as advice or good tips that people who are caregivers or who know caregivers, because this is the thing, they know caregivers, they hear the story, we hear them, right? I've been in a situation where I know a caregiver and we're on the phone and they're telling us all of the trials and tribulations that they're going through, trying to support and offer all of what they can to their loved one or who they're working for, because sometimes it is a working relationship. And of course, we're here trying to offer them the best advice, which is not expert advice. It's just our caring advice for that individual and the situation. But I'm sure you have some tips that will help people to get through those experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
My biggest tip that I can give to someone in a caregiving role is to remember that caregiving is a marathon. It's not a sprint. In most cases, it's an experience that will extend over a period of time. And so just like a marathon runner, you need to gauge your endeavors, and you need to reserve your resources. So I really encourage caregivers to take care of themselves. If they're giving and giving to the point where they have nothing left, if they're depleted, then they're suffering and the person they're caring for is suffering as well. So my number one tip is find ways to fill your own cup, find ways to take care of yourself. The more you take care of yourself, the more you can take care of the person you're
I
caring
mean,
for.
we know this, don't we?
You
But I
do.
don't know that we all practice it as well as we should. But I love that, and I want to reiterate that is caregiving is a marathon, not a sprint. And so it's really important to realize that this is not a short-term experience, especially if you're just starting it.
Right.
It's going to take you through lots of different situations, emotions, activity, things to do, right?
Exactly.
So it's a marathon, not a sprint. And what are some of those tips that you can give that help someone to take care of themselves?
Mhm.
Simple things.
Yeah. One of my favorite things to suggest for caregivers is that they create a self-care toolkit
Oh yeah, that sounds good.
and a physical toolkit, whether they put it in a toolbox or they put it in a basket or they put it in a tote bag.
Hmm.
But to go ahead and have that container and put the things, the actual physical items inside the container that help them nurture themselves.
That
For
sounds really
example,
fun. Okay.
for example, something, if I were creating my own at this point in time, some things I would put in, I would be sure and put in some relaxing music, whether it was on CDs or if it was a playlist on my iPhone.
Okay.
I would put in something I like to read that I find inspirational. I
Oh, show
would
me
put
that one
in,
again. What was that one? I like the sounds of mm, keep your 100 ways to keep your soul alive.
yes.
And what was the other one? Ah, nine fruits of the spirit. That sounds really interesting. Okay.
So,
So they're
so
inspirational books.
inspirational readings. Um, I also like to put in there a journal, and I encourage people to use this as a gratitude journal. Even during our most stressful days, there's something to be grateful for, and I encourage people to make a note of 3 things they're grateful for every day. For people who enjoy handiwork, and find handiwork soothing, I encourage them to go ahead and do their handwork, whether it's needlepoint or knitting or crocheting, whatever. Some people like doing adult coloring.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, in your toolkit, you could put adult coloring pages and markers.
So these
Uh,
are things that you would basically have in, as you said, in a little tote bag or something close by.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, I like using a basket.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And it, you know, this one has handles, so it makes it very easy to pick up and take along. A woman I worked with recently, they were having a family vacation, and the person she was caring for is on dialysis, and so they were, you know, the even though they were on vacation, the caregiving still continued.
Right.
And one of the essential things she packed for their vacation was her self-care toolkit. And
Self-care toolkit. I love it. I love that idea. I think I need one for myself actually.
you know, I think we can all use one. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's that moment when I just don't want anything else. I probably wouldn't put my phone in there at all. Even though I like music, I would want to turn the phone off and just
Mhm.
detach from it completely and have my little tote bag or basket that just has my favorite things, which would be a good book, because I would just love to curl up in a chair and something with a good book.
Exactly.
Don't get a lot of time for that.
Exactly. One
Yeah,
of my favorite things about that idea of the self-care toolkit is everything's contained
exactly.
in one place. And so during a stressful moment,
Yeah.
you don't have to run around and, oh, where did I put my book? Where did I put my favorite kind of tea? Where did I put that
Oh, the tea.
candle that I find very soothing?
So you
These
would put a
are,
couple of tea bags in there too, maybe, or
oh,
something?
yeah, I do.
Oh,
I like keeping herb tea in it.
yep. Okay.
Um, I also like keeping my favorite hand lotion in it.
Oh, nice. Okay. For the scent and the feel.
Exactly. I love having things that are nurturing for the caregiver, you know, because caregivers are giving so much
Yeah.
that caregivers need to nurture themselves and pamper themselves.
Yeah.
So I love the idea of having pampering things, music, activities, readings inside that toolkit for them to use, you know, at a moment's notice.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. So we have a few things I wanted to summarize real quick, that things that I think are good takeaways for our listeners. For those of us who are around caregivers who don't
Mhm.
live in the same space, remember that it's a marathon and not a sprint. And then also to take care of yourself. So take care of self so that
Yeah,
you can take care of the other.
exactly.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
then your tips, which I love, I just love the tell me what you called it again, your care.
Self-care toolkit.
Self-care toolkit. Love it.
Yes.
Fill it with some things that are important to you, that help you to relax and touches your sensory. So the smells, the sounds, everything that makes you feel good, and take a moment away from everything with your little toolkit, right?
In a stressful moment, if I'm using my favorite hand cream that has that fragrance I love, just that act is nurturing for myself.
Oh,
Even the fact of making a cup of tea, the fragrance of that. Um, I know you prefer to not have your phone,
right.
but if I have my playlist on here of
Yeah.
calming music, I can play that and put it in my pocket as I'm going around the house.
Yeah.
Anything I can do to nurture myself and fill myself
Awesome.
back up.
I love it. And so it doesn't necessarily need to take long to take care of yourself. It's
Not at all.
little
Not
things
at
that
all.
you do.
Not
Yeah,
at all.
I love that. Great ideas. Thank you. I've enjoyed this. I hope the listeners enjoy it. I'm sure they'll tell me
Yeah.
once I see them, or that they'll contact me. I do have a number of my clients or past clients who are friends now, and they'll
Yeah.
text and say something. So any feedback I get, I will be sure to share it with you. But
Wonderful.
I do want to quickly put your slide back up so that you can be clear and tell people
Oh,
how to
okay.
contact you. Um,
Uh-huh.
the best way. Tell us the best way to contact you.
The easiest way to contact me is through an email, although I know not everyone is as comfortable with email as everyone else, but my email address is michelle@thecaregiversite.com. You can also visit my website, which is thecaregiversite.com, or you can call my cell phone, which is 404-408-3107. And Hilary, I always enjoy the time you and I spend talking.
Yes.
So I'm so glad to have gotten to talk with you today.
You know, thank you. And thank you for being willing, because this really is about nurturing and providing something for the clients, as I've said earlier. Not even just clients, friends, people, anyone who has a need that who can get a little bit of value from this.
Mhm.
So thank you so much for being with me. I've enjoyed it, and I'm sure we'll do
Yeah.
something again.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay. Thank you,
Thank you,
Hilary.
Michelle. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Visit HilaryWalker.realtor. This specialist realtor provides essential services and knowledge for you or your parents who are baby boomers, aged 50 or more, or are seniors. Hilary is licensed in Georgia, but able to find you a great realtor in your area as well. Again, that website, HilaryWalker.realtor. HilaryWalker.realtor. Real estate is more than property. It's about people, and Hilary works to assist people in achieving their dreams and goals one house at a time.